So I'm just going to say that we will not be singing. And you will be very glad about that. So I know I'm not the only one in this room that could not wait to move out at 18. I was just going from Milwaukee to Madison, not even 80 miles, but that felt like freedom. It meant moving out of dependency, out of adolescence, and out of compliance with rules that no longer made sense to me. The urgency to leave was not rooted in an overtly violent household or even overcrowding or even a scarcity of resources. Although my mother, she used to put money between her mattress and box spring my whole life. She knew that I knew we never spoke of it. But the urgency stemmed from a wild curiosity and really an eagerness to make it on my own, to see what it would be like. But when I look at my children's generation, my children are 19 and almost 23. You know what's coming here, right? I just don't sense that same eagerness. I do not sense that same eagerness for that next big thing, that next step. And I started to wonder, should I have been more helicoptery, right? More vigilant, more something, especially with my son Max. He dawdled and putzed and delayed getting his driver's license. I know that's a thing now. When I was growing up, we could not wait to drive. It was like this coming of age thing. You get your license when you turn 16. He had no urgency, none. But when he finally got his license, I thought, he's going to be really excited to get a job. I could not have been more wrong. But I initiated the conversation because that's what I do. And I brought it up and he paused. He even looked confused, perplexed. As if I had asked him, can you cure the cancer in less than 72 hours? His face was kind of blank, and finally when he answered, he paused, he looked sincere, and he said, "Mom, I'm uninterested in employment." He absolutely said that. I was shocked. Did I really hear my son say that? We come from a long line, generations of workers. All we do is work, that old European work ethic. And my son looked at me and just was uninterested in working. So I burst out laughing and said to him, "Max, I'm not particularly interested in working either." He realized the stupidity of what he had said and started laughing as well. But this got me wondering, did the divorce fuck him up, right? Or was it that my next relationship was with a woman? Was that it? Or was it that I cut, toasted, and buttered his bagel until he left for college? I totally did that. What variables in this child's life made getting a job at 16 one of the most absurd requests a parent could make? But then it got me thinking more. What have we, the collective we, done to this generation of children? Has the over-coddling, over-protecting, over-tracking, overseeing every part of their lives stunted their growth and development in some way, prevented them from tackling certain challenges, doing hard things? It is our angst and worry and catastrophic what-ifs that drives the overness of our parenting. As a therapist, I work with parents. They track their children. I know some of you track your children. I have no judgment about that. But I often ask them, right? They use devices and apps and covert measures to track them every single day. And I often ask them, how does this help you? and they can't really answer. They want to believe it keeps their children safer. It probably doesn't. They want to believe that their anxiety will be less, but it usually isn't. In fact, their anxiety is worse. But this idea of tracking gives us this false sense of security and comfort, somehow keeping our children from the awfulness that looms out there. So then I wonder, what is really being adult? I have friends and colleagues that don't want their children to pay rent. They want them to live at home when they're in college or after college and working. I was like, isn't paying rent part of being an adult? Isn't living with roommates in cities that you can't afford to live in being an adult? San Francisco. My first apartment in San Francisco was $500 a month. It was half of my net pay. And not because I was saving 60% of my salary. My son saved 60% of his salary at his first job. That was not my story. It's because I chose the lucrative profession of human services, right? Were $9 an hour in 1987 for a social worker with a master's degree was the going rate. And I know rent in San Francisco is now $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom, whatever, right? What I will say is, if you have an adult child living in your basement that's gainfully employed, please ask them for room and board, or at least have them clean their own bathroom.